Well, I guess I pretty much have to go live now. This one is we're going to shut this down to check out Yurt, the Yurt fellow, as calls him. Indeed, sir. Rest in peace, Davey Croco. Yeah, and necessarily this is going to be about me from my perspective, right? As it's that way for all of us, regardless of how we, like to pretend, And I've had very few people pass away. I went to college with a guy who dropped dead of a heart attack way before the fake pandemic. 36 years old, just dropped dead of a heart attack. He never was a healthy person, but we certainly didn't expect to lose him that quickly. I wasn't real close with him, but certainly friends in college. But you know, for me, I'm reminded that most people have not accepted their mortality, that they do, in fact, most people, and many of you listening, let's be honest, it's some sort of, as you intellectually or logically may realize that, well, of course, everybody dies, right? But doesn't mean you have to accept it on some level. It's this fantasy that, well, in fact, this may continue on indefinitely. And I think that's one of the reasons why the fake pandemic was so effective, because people are suffering from this delusion. So then when the COVID thing comes around, it's like, hey, I'm going to live forever. But now this thing, unless this thing gets me, so you damn well better cover your face, wash your hands, and stay 6 feet away from me. See, and I knew that the whole way through. That's one of the dynamics that this thing works on. Because, and there's a very good book. It's poorly written, but the material is excellent, called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. And I always forget the other guy's name, Michael something. And in fact, my research indicates a lot of this stuff with Trump, people identifying heroically with Trump, had to do with these fantastical notions that they think they're going to live forever. You may not be here tomorrow. Now, the fact is, a pattern has emerged in which you most likely will, but nobody can guarantee you of that. And I've known that for a very long time. And I'm going to live my day today the same, because I know I might not be here tomorrow. I'm not changing nothing. It is what it is. And that's why I don't have guilt. I've talked about, that I had a seemingly negative interaction with my mother. And then the next day she went off to the hospital and almost died of the bioweapon attack. And in fact, would have died if not for refusing the ventilator. But I wouldn't have connected the two events, because Drew's like, oh, I shouldn't have blown up. He's talking about blowing off that stream. But dude, we're just living, man. Um, I don't connect the one thing to the other thing. But here today, gone tomorrow. That's what this is. This is a transitory experience. You know, it just is. How many of us really realize that and face that? And look, most of us is going through stuff. I mean, we may not talk about it. I've talked about it maybe more than some folks. Um, but look at what happened, and full doomer, of course. But in fact, really wasn't a doomer before this fake pandemic. But if we look at what's gone on in the last however many years, but now it's the kind of the quiet period where the people are being left alone for the most part, where the people are not being harassed, based on medical tyranny quite as stringently as they were, right, or as we were, the people being harassed. If the people haven't figured it out, I mean, just look at what the people have gone through, myself included, yourself included. We've all gone through trauma. You can say that you haven't. I don't believe you. I mean, look at what we've been through individually. I mean, not collectively. So, um, I know much of the time I'm interfacing with people that are going through something, and I'm going through stuff now. I've like to think I've come out of the other end of whatever I've been going through, but probably just going to go through some more things. And I'm talking about a struggle, maybe even existential crisis. What's the meaning of all of this? What am I here to do? Um, you know, what's the point? Right? Just the bizarre nature. Thank you, Dark Glasses Woody. Much appreciated, Dark Glasses Woody. Yeah, and I really haven't been that close with Croco since I went through my thing. Whatever I've gone through, in the last year or so. But we were fairly close metaversally before that, I would say, to some extent. Um, there was certainly mutual respect there, and I certainly have feelings about his passing that I won't I'm not capable of processing in the moment. So I could tell Drew was pretty shook up by it, and I am as well. But like I say, I'm the type I need some time to kind of go through that, and in the few I need some time to sort of look back at whatever I'm feeling right now, if that makes any kind of sense, and it probably doesn't. But okay, well, and I had a pretty good feeling, not good feeling, rather, no, I had an accurate perception that this was the case. And if anybody knew Croco, there's just certain things he struggled with that increased his chance of passing early. That's just the reality. You there's no need to sugarcoat it, right? It was not it was not it was an open secret, you know. Yeah, good to see you. More about deception, not under these circumstances, of course. Um, yeah, Carl, I'm not quite sure what you mean down there, but I was very much unprepared for these type of broadcasts today. I had no idea that this was going to be the way it was going to go. But and the fact is, anytime I do these broadcasts, and I'm not talking about you, Carl. Um, Anytime I do these broadcasts, I've been on the internet long enough that, dude, a lot of people, it's just, I'm just going to say it like it is. A lot of people, not a lot, um, a more than insignificant portion of the people who post in these live chats and listen to these broadcasts are just pieces of trash, and I've known that for a long time, right? And when I see when I type over in OTW News's live chat that Davey Croco's passed, and just immediately start seeing shitty comments. What's a shitty person, right? Because let's say that they actually believed what they're saying and weren't just trying to be an edgelord. Well, it's no regard for my feelings, right? Because I could just be gossiping and passing on some news. Or what if I was actually, had some sort of regard for this person, right? And I did love Croco. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But that's a personal thing for me, right? It's a very personal thing that I'm not going to talk about a lot. But yeah, absolutely. And if people want to be edgelords and shitty, that they're just, now it's confirmation that some portion of the people that type in these chats, and I'm not talking about the people typing right now. I mean generally, like in the larger so-called truther community. Garbage in, garbage out. Not quite sure what you mean by that, Miss Splurge, but yeah, just bad people. A lot of people. It's just no other way to put it. Which is, that doesn't reflect on me. And that's the ultimately. I did have an epiphany this morning. Or I experienced an epiphany, I should say, and that's the title of the. And I had no idea I was going to be talking about this, but the title of the video. Blessed life epiphany, which that does describe my life. I've lived a blessed life. Sure, struggles, of course, challenges, circumstances. Guess what? That's everybody. That's effectively 100% of everybody that comes through this hell, right? This hell realm, in my estimation. So that's nothing unique, right? But the epiphany I had is ultimately none of this stuff that we talk about. Because me and Drew have been covering on the morning show. We've covered a lot of the Reverso stuff and the way the breakdown of the nuclear family, and none of that has anything to do with me. Ultimately, that's not my problem. It's really not. None of that is my problem. Why? Because I'm getting up out of here. That's why. This ain't my home. I'm not identified with this. Now, I am identified with it at the level of my human psychology. Is a product of this system. So I am. As much as I say I'm not identified with these things, well, I am, of course. It's a dichotomy. It's a paradox. But I'm putting some things in perspective. I'm reframing some things as far as this drag queen story hour and all this stuff. Yeah, I have certain feelings about it, right? But ultimately, it's not my problem, and it's not for me to deal with. And in fact, my life has been lived in such a way, although not intentionally, but for me specifically, this is neither here nor there. This and these ideas of oh, people are going to band together and fix the dystopia. It's not a thing. It's not a thing that can be done as far as I'm concerned. It's not possible. So, from my perspective, I'm going to focus where my efforts are effective, and that my brain is set up for effectiveness. And it's just not effective for me to be focusing on reversos. Meanwhile, if I meet a reverso, and I have, by the way, I've known multiple reversos in real life that I've had friendly, amicable interactions with. Um, People are people to me. I'm not going to treat them any different than anybody else. Well, that's not true. I will, but that's just by necessity. You kind of have to. But I'm willing to interface with people because they're humans. They're still humans, right? And it's easy to just dismiss somebody's humanity, like Croco. Some people are so conservative, whatever the fuck that means, that they think Croco's humanity is discredited solely based on the substances he may have chosen to put in his body at various times. Right. Well, show me a human, I'll show you a hypocrite. I'm sure I could find reasons to dismiss your humanity if I really wanted to, but I don't. For me, I would rather accept you as a human, me personally. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Miss Splurge. Good to see you, by the way. I'm always attracted to the new names, and Music Prosper 6 may possibly be one as well. So shout out to the new names. And like I've said before, this ain't for everybody. I do a broadcast, and some people seem to really gravitate towards it, and other people are probably repelled by it. So, get in where you fit in if you're so inclined. My feelings ain't hurt if this ain't for you. So, or if you want to hate watch it, it's always a possibility as well. So it's up to you, really. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Gary Baxter says he's going to miss Croco. Sure. Yeah, and that does kind of show to me. It's a reminder of the isolation. The levels of social isolation and these barriers between individuals, and just even Croco not really feeling like he could do his thing on YouTube. And he occasionally would stop by my live streams and say hi. And I really didn't return the favor once he left D Live, and it was I don't looking back on it. That's just the way it worked out. I don't have any guilt over that, but it is now I will say this: it is a reminder for me to support people. And I already emailed Yurt before I knew about this. It's a reminder of me when I see someone in these circles that I feel like could use my support. And I don't mean monetarily, although that could mean that depending on the context. For me to go ahead and do that, versus I'm an actual hermit, and my inclination much of the time is just sort of go off and do my own thing and sort of just, fold into myself. Right. And just, oh yeah, if somebody hits me up, then, I'm more than willing to talk to them, but then I'm not usually the one hitting other people up. So I'm trying to change into a being who actually, contacts other people. What's up, Don Juan? Good to see you, brother. Yeah. One of our, a person that some of us had a lot of regard for. We just found out he passed away. So his name was Davey Croco. He was a very good content creator, although not on YouTube, as he wasn't really able to. YouTube was not permitting him to do his thing on YouTube. So yeah, but good to see you, bro. And another person I've intended to reach out to, and I don't even really like that term "reach out to," but another person I've intended to contact and really haven't. So a lot of these things are reminders to me. It's like, hey, do I appreciate these people or not? Or it's like, oh, now they've passed away, and it's like I had my chance to appreciate them, and now or I'm gone. By the way, I'm probably not going to be here that much longer. I hate. Look, I know people are sensitive and they don't like to hear that, but yeah, I could. The fact is, I could live many more years. It's possible, but regardless of that, I don't even really know what to say about it. And it doesn't even matter, in that context, as far as my health and stuff. But I will say this: I don't need anybody. It's like what I get out of people, and I'm not asking for support or sympathy. I definitely don't want sympathy or pity, but it's like, Dude, it actively annoys me when so many people try to give me health advice, and we saw it yesterday. It's just I understand it's people's nature, like that's their human nature. I recognize that, but you know, if I'm literally typing in the live chat, "Hey, please, no health advice," and then it's like, dude, somebody in Paul Unslaved live chat said, "But I can save your life." Like, imagine having that mindset across in a live chat of a YouTube live stream. No, you can't save my life. It's not a thing that can be done. I wasn't able to. I wouldn't have been able to save Davey Croco's life, right? Like, no, you can't save my life over the fucking metaverse from a live chat. That's not possible. But again, that shows me where some of these people's heads are at, right? But I understand the part where it's like, hey, we'll just assume Benton's a bozo who doesn't know anything about health and nutrition. Meanwhile, I guarantee you I eat better than 99% of you. I just do because I know how y'all eat, right? But it's not my business to go out here and settle y'all's hash. So, yeah, I have chronic illnesses that causing me various issues. But I doubt there's hardly any. There's a few, but effectively, there's almost nobody on here that can be like, yeah, I haven't had any processed food in the last year. Well, I haven't. So, what do you want to tell me about it? Right? It's like, let's go out here and give people advice that we're not practicing. And shout out to OTW News who was covering that earlier with the some of the Wes Watson stuff. If you're not doing what you're telling me to do, what is even going on here? Right. Meanwhile, I didn't ask you for your advice. So, I mean, what even is that? Yeah, but see, that's about you guys, Gary Back. And this is where I'm going to be a little hard on people. That has nothing to do with me, the human. See, if somebody really wants to try to treat me with regard for my humanity, the way to do that is to interact with me, observe me, and try to figure out what I need out of this. That is the practice of compassion, by the way. It's the person subverting their own desire to help me. See, that's a you problem, not you, Gary Baxter. I mean, and I understand what you're saying, but generally speaking, that's a them problem because they're not able to overcome what's going on within them enough to be able to pay attention to what's going on with me and then realize, oh, he's the type of person that he knows everything we know and more intellectually about these topics. And I do. I know as much or more than 99% of you about all these things because I'm well fucking read and I have damn near a photographic memory. Or I used to, maybe not so much now. I got a whole fucking head full of crazy amounts of reading, right? Oh, but you guys follow a channel. As if your connection metaversally to some content creator can somehow reach out and save my life. Meanwhile, you're just assuming I want my life saved, by the way. When did I say that I wanted to stay? In fact, I've made many statements saying, really, I'm trying to get out of here other than my strong will to live. And, I'm very strong mentally. Other than that, I'm really not trying to stick around this motherfucker any longer than necessary. This ain't that great, y'all. It's really not. This ain't that great. But now we're back to the delusion and the denial. Well, we're all stuck here. So, might as well just lie to ourselves and pretend like it's some sort of wonderful, great realm where it's just the fucking sun is shining. Yeah, the sun might be shining, sure. But what was Croco going through? What are you going through that you're not even facing? That's called repression. Like what's going on within you that you're just burying or pushing aside and putting on a happy face, by the way. Yeah. But see, and I agree with your general sentiment here, Gary Baxter. The thing is, part of me living in the streets for I like to say a decade. It was really closer to 8 years, most likely, and then like 6 straight. I really got to know what these people are about, man. My fellow humans. And the fact is, whatever their response is to my health issues, that has nothing to do with me as a human. It has everything. It's just their thing that they're going through. Which is fine. Just leave me out of it, please. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that's great. Could you pretty please with sugar on top leave me out of it? Even just be like, okay, this is general advice, and but it gets directed at me as if they have some power to intervene in my life. No, you don't, because this works on free will. And I'm free to destroy my fucking organs if I want to. which is what's happened, but not through alcohol. That was only part of it. See, it's a very tangled web, right? But I have every right to do that in this realm because this is based on free will, among other things. But that's one of the primary ways this works: free will. And none of you have a right to intercede. And that word's been coming up a lot lately. None of you has a right to intervene because I have free will. It's just how it works, and vice versa, by the way. But then again, I don't consider it appropriate as soon as somebody says something they're going through. And this is a sickness, by the way. This is a psychological sickness that people suffer from. As soon as I hear somebody say an issue they're going through, yeah, my mind also immediately goes to potential solutions. But because I'm evolved enough, I recognize, well, if I really want to help and support this person, first I'm going to really need to be present in this moment instead of paying attention to whatever I'm going through. Right now, okay, so it's like, okay, tune into them, right? And then observe them and try to see what are they trying to get. Because a lot of times they really just want to be supported in some way, just want to be heard in some way. Just, yeah, man. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. And sort of imagine what would it be like to be somebody who is so open and so direct, who will just tell you that, yeah, I'm fucking dying, which I am, right? But then, problem solving, clickety, 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 solve the problem, solve the dying, solve the dying, solve the dying. It's because you haven't accepted that you're dying. It's got nothing to do with me. You haven't accepted that you're dying and you might not be here tomorrow. Oh, but Croco's passed now, and it's like, oh, well, this is my reminder to live a different type of way. And 3 days later, you're just right back to where you were. So what's the point of even typing that bullshit? And no, it ain't a reminder of nothing. It's a reminder of what you're denying, and you're going to go right back to denying it because that's what people do. But one day they might just grow the fuck up and evolve their energy to a level where they can live day to day knowing just exactly what this is they're living with and knowing that they might not be here tomorrow. That's called courage and bravery, sirs and ma'ams. And most of you ain't got it. And it makes me sick. What's the point of coming here and going through all this struggle to just deny what the fucking thing even is? Makes me sick. But I'm here living with you. So what choice do I have to do but to accept this is how y'all are? And again, I'm not talking to you individually. This is just a generalized fucking rant. So please, I understand I'm saying you, and it probably feels some type of way. I wish I had a better way to express these things. Right. But it's fucking lip service, man. Just like the thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And then we just all go back to pretending like we're not going to die one day, pretending like our loved ones ain't going to die one day, pretending like this is something to attach to and identify with, whatever this experience is, like it's something so fucking great. We just need to grasp onto it, hang on to it as fucking tightly as possible. Right. I don't see it that way. I don't think I've ever seen it that way, honestly. Yeah, it's the end is built into the beginning. That's right. That's right. But how much is one able to interface, immersively? How much is one able to, we are immersed in this experience, right? So that they talk about video games being immersive, and that's the VR and all of this, and that's seen as a progression, like the games become more immersive, right? Well, the fact is, you're already immersed into the most interesting experience as far as I'm concerned. It's called, if you can develop your mind and your consciousness, well, not even your consciousness, if you can develop your mind and your concentration enough to become aware that in fact you're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not this experience, you're the thing watching all of that. What's more immersive than that? Right? So I'm immersed in this thing, and I'm identified with it to some degree. I have to be, right? Again, it's a paradox. It's a dichotomy. It's like as I'm identified with the experience, I'm also detached from the experience. And why not master that is the way I look at it. And as far as I'm concerned, it's worth doing of its own accord, right? Whatever that is. I don't need to be rewarded out here. It's not about, well, how much money am I going to make if I work really hard and focus and concentrate on all of this mastery of self and self-realization, so-called, and all of these various practices. I would say that is the reward, is that you're now changed into something better, meaning that vibrates at a higher level. And we talk about, oh, I resonate with that. Okay, yeah, you probably didn't used to, though, because your frequency probably came up over time, and now, oh yeah, you do resonate with that. Well, did you resonate with it 20 years ago? Some of you did, sure, of course. I'm not addressing your individual experiences. I'm speaking very generally. There you go, Gary Baxter. Yeah. But there can be a lot of fear around that, because why? We nobody knows what's next, which for me is part of the fun, right? Yep. No one here gets out alive. 5-1, baby. 1-5. No one here gets out alive. You give yours, baby. I give mine. Gonna make it in our prime. I don't really even know the words to that. Come together one more time. I agree, RT. Could not agree more. I covered that earlier. I think I don't think you're echoing my comments here. I could not agree more, sir. That they really think they're going to live forever, and so that's just irrational fear of the CV, and especially their loved ones. Oh well, you got to cover your face because you might give me the fucking germ, and I might take it home to my grandma, and I love my grandma. Yeah, I love my grandma too, but I don't think I'm going to bring something home to her that's going to kill her. I just don't see it. Just don't see it that way. Yeah, man, that's it's fucked up. A lot of us had a lot of regard for Croco, man. It says a lot about him that because, dude, if somebody passed away that I really didn't have a lot of regard for, I'm not the type to fake it. I probably wouldn't say anything shitty, but you just wouldn't hear much out of me, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Feel for his family, I guess. I mean, I just don't know. Like I say, I won't really know. I won't understand my feelings about this till some point in the future. So, not even really sure what the fuck's going on at this point. But it's funny, with the energies, we talk about the energies, and I think most of us have detected something's been going on, like in the ether or whatever you want to call it, right? And something's been happening, in these spheres, some sort of upheaval and turmoil, and maybe this had something to do with it. I mean, I don't know, it's above my pay grade, but I know we're all tapped into things that we don't really logically, rationally understand in our conscious mind. That we're tapped into those things, right? There you go. Music holds a secret. The Tin Man needed a heart, so do we. The Scarecrow needed a brain. Think. The Cowardly Lion needed courage, overcome fear. Well, and that is an excellent reminder of something, because some of these things I've worked on, and believe me, I'm nowhere near mastering a lot of this stuff. Trust me, or don't trust me. I mean, it's obvious much of the time. Believe me, I'm also watching this bozo we call Benton. So yeah, I get it. But what I would say is, you talk about the heart, the brain, and you get into courage and spirit and all of these things. See, what I've found is the being, if that's me, right? And I'm adopting a little bit of Paul's Unslaved vernacular in some ways, but I do like that term in that context. But I'm only really able to operate at the least common like the least common denominator out of all those three. So some people are really advanced intellectually, but they're so far behind, in their heart, in their spirit, with their courage, with their will, with their mental fortitude, that it it's not really going to be that relevant necessarily, the intellectual, because we can't get to where we're trying to go if one is willing to accept that this is some sort of spiritual progression, or it could be whatever whatever this experience is for you could involve some degree of, because I have no way of knowing what you're here to do, but every man hath not the same office. But yeah, on that progression, it can't get there just through this. Obviously, you can't get there just through this. To me, it's the balance of all three. Mind, body, and spirit. Right, which doesn't mean we have to become as physically fit as humanly possible. It doesn't mean but you know, putting garbage into our bodies is obviously going to limit the progress. I mean, of course it is. And believe me, I've eaten just as much, if not more, garbage than anybody. I promise you. I grew up on just complete garbage. So yeah, I get it. But it's like, when you know better, you do better, or do you? Or do you just lie to yourself? Even though you know better, do you just, oh well, I understand what this honey bun's about to do to me, or this ding dong, or this Snicker bar is about to do to me, right? But tastes good, feels good. So, and believe me, I've done plenty of that. I get it. Yeah, indeed, Rob, indeed. Well, and I don't want to blow it out of proportion, but yeah, it's a good dude for sure. I don't think so. Well, and a lot of us are fairly private people, I would say. I do tend to just sort of put everything out there on Front Street about myself for the most part. But I am, believe it or it's like a dichotomy. Again, it's a paradox. I am a very private person in a lot of ways. And I think some of us sort of respect that in other people, right? It's like we want to be respected at the level of our privacy, some of us. So that's just how I interface with most people. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. There you go. I was just thinking that, Woody, especially when I said ding, I was exactly what I was thinking, man. Like, what even is this? He said, Honey Buns Ding Dongs US has sexually suggestive foods. Yeah. 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 I don't know. I got to be honest. I really haven't had any dealings with him. So I haven't, once he'd left D Live, I saw almost none of his content after that. I guess the Yurt fellow's going live here. Our boy Austin. I'm going to drop his link. Give me a second here. Where is he? If he does, somebody's got to make a website. I guess I'll just do it. Somebody needs to make just a simple website with all the links on it. Change the name of his channel. If you type in NA Thought Experiment, it no longer comes up. I have to type in NA Thought Experiment channel. Oh, he's live. Oh, shit. All right, we're going to shut this down. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. Well, shit. All right, I'm going to rebroadcast Yurt. Let me drop his link. Hey, I was, just wanting to rebroadcast. I'm good. Oh, you're paid. Awesome. Oh.